What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the AM, guys. Welcome back to 5-Minute Rants. So recently, I was told that a rant was a negative thing, and I am totally, really, honestly, socially unaware. And so if you're listening to the show and this doesn't sound like what you're expecting, like a negative rant for me to moan and gripe and complain, well, I hope you're pleasantly surprised. Anyways, today, guys, I actually want to talk about how to find your next steps. So one of the things that Andrew and I learned in business, we have a rule of thumb where if we ever feel stuck or if we ever feel that we cannot move forward, we ship it. And here's why, because it's the current best version that you can do as your current self. And I'm not saying that you ship under par things. I'm not saying that you ship subprime products and things like this and stuff with defects. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about while you're building and creating, you don't know how to make it better. Cool, you ship it. And then you go before a QA meeting or a quality control assurance or whatever the process is. And then you're going to see your next steps immediately because that's as far as you get. Oftentimes, Andrew and I will have meetings just to ship things. Like, hey, we've made this process and this infrastructure. This is as far as I've got so far. Let's ship it. And the moment you ship it, you get sight on whatever the next steps are. And so here's a principle that came out of this over the years. You will know what to do once you start moving. You're going to know what to do once you start moving. You will know the next steps you need to take. You're going to know how the journey will look. You're going to know what needs to be fixed. You'll be able to identify areas that are broken and need to improve. However, what inhibits that from happening is when you do not have movement. A good analogy of this would be a road trip. Let's just say you live somewhere in Tennessee and you're trying to go to the Florida Keys and you've never been before and you're going to drive. Well, you plan the whole map. You plan out the whole trip on a map. In my days growing up, you'd have an atlas and you'd highlight all the highways you're going down, right? And you would do that. And then once you do that, the only next step is to ship the plan in the map, pack your bag and leave. That's it. You're never going to know what the road's going to look like. You're not going to know what traffic is going to look like. You're not going to know what all the destinations to eat or for bathroom breaks are going to look like. You don't know where they are on the exits. You're not going to know the next steps until you actually just leave the house. And once you leave the house and you begin driving, you get to see all the scenery. You get to see the gas stations. You'll figure out when your gas is low because you'll have the measurement and the gauge sitting there, right? And it's interesting because this principle, I know it may be disconnected for some of you, but this principle is how all of life operates. If you want to know the next steps, cool, just ship it. You feel stuck in your life, it's because you're not shipping something that you should. You feel stuck in an area of life, it's because you're not doing something that you should. You're not shipping something and just saying, cool, it's good enough, let me go. And it's interesting because oftentimes the reason why we don't ship, why we're not moving forward, and why we don't just try and do things is because of arrogance or fear. There's a lot of fear, but the thing about fear is it normally comes from, I don't want to look bad or I don't want to make a mistake. And here's the crazy thing about mistakes. Most mistakes are very undoable. Like, cool, you make a bad decision. It doesn't have to be world ending. It does not have to be world ending if you have the humility to acknowledge, oh, I've made a bad decision. What makes world ending bad decisions is when you're stuck in arrogance and you're stuck in pride and can't admit that you're wrong, won't admit that you're wrong, and now you stay the course to prove that you're right and not wrong. And then that is actually normally how world-ending mistakes are made. And I'm air quoting world-ending. And so if you take that and see that, most mistakes are undoable. You take a wrong turn, okay, you can U-turn. Cool, you say the wrong thing. Cool, you leave the job and you shouldn't have. Okay, cool. Yeah, you may not be able to get that exact job back, but you know what? You can go mend relationships if you need to, right? You can go talk to your old colleagues and boss and talk to them about stuff. I don't know. The point is if you are looking to move forward in life and you just feel stuck and not going to do something, just take the leap. It's interesting because when things feel the hardest or the scariest to do, that's normally the time to do them. And it's normally the right direction, interestingly enough. Otherwise, you're going to stay who you are and you're going to stay stuck in the same position where you're at. So anyways, you want to find out your next steps? Just do it. Just start moving. Just ship. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.